Ooh, man, oh man, oh man. As of present, you getting nothing but Drayton, 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 and more Drayton. And this is officially off the rim.
Ain't no way around it. Ain't no way around it. Cause I'm tryna ball out. Come on if you bout it. But you better keep up. I'm not slowing down. I swear they gon' see us. Ain't no way around it.
All right, let's get into tournament play with no games being had this Saturday. I took a little extra time off because I wanted to make sure that I got this perfect, and I feel like I might be getting this a little perfect, just a little bit, just a little bit, just a little bit, just a little bit. First game on tap because I want to break down the last dance and the teams in the first round and who I think who's gonna win. These are my opinions. I do not control the outcomes of these games. If you don't like my opinion, I don't care. That happens to be the good thing about opinions. Everybody has one, right? Like if you're hurt about what I'm about to say about your team, I mean I'm looking at it objectively and how I view the game of basketball and how I view how your team is played. If you see something completely different and don't think that my analysis is accurate at all, say something down below. I'm willing to cuss and discuss with anybody. First game on tap will be Friday, March 7th. It will be SimWorld Europe versus the Queen City Kings. Now, this game technically doesn't have any upset capabilities because one's the 16th seed and one's the 17th seed. They're supposed to be evenly ranked. All right, Europe is 6-7, and Queen City Kings are 6-6. So, like again, they're evenly matched. Uh, the key weapons for this game is Marco Jacobs for Queen City Kings. I think if Marco Jacobs, Taz Journey, and Andre Shiftworthy show up, I do think they take this home. Now Marco Jacobs is having a down year. He's not being coached by Coach Skinny, and I know some of the people in the media aren't big fans of Coach Skinny, but I believe he got the absolute most out of Marco Jacobs and Taz Journey. But when you're a developmental coach and you're focused on players' development, people think the only thing that matters is winning. When the most important thing is about seeing kids take the next step and then winning. But some people get lost in the chaff of all that. The big factor for me, at least, is Andrei Ivanov on SimWorld Europe. I understand that he's averaging 15 points this year, but most people wanted more. He's not even shooting a 50% clip from the field, and most of his shots are inside the arc. At 7'3", 236 pounds, you want more from your big. He's got to bring more punch to the party, if that makes sense. If anybody understands what that means. I think if you compare Ty Merca to Marco Jacobs, the edge goes to Marco Jacobs. So the one place that they have the edge would be the interior, but I don't think Andrei Ivanov has been really dominant this season. He's been good, he hasn't been dominant. Him and Suslov have had spurts this season where they be like, yeah, these are the guys that were dangerous last season, and this is them taking a step, but they haven't necessarily taken that step, and because they haven't, their team's 6-7. Next matchup will be Beyond the Arc versus Gulf Coast Lockdown. March 8th at 8 p.m. No, at 7 p.m. Now, do I think this game's going to be an upset? No. Do I think it could be an upset? I think Gulf Coast would have to play this perfectly. Now, Beyond the Arc has one weakness. They are in a team that generally shoots. Not even makes. They generally don't shoot a lot of threes. I mean, their leading three-point shooter is Jackson Sutton with 17 threes made at a 39% clip. They really do well at attacking the interior and protecting the paint. That's really what Beyond the Arc does, ironically. The team that's called Beyond the Arc doesn't really have a shoot. Besides the point, y'all see what I'm saying. I mean, Jackson Sutton averages 12 points. They're a well-balanced attack. Everybody but one guy on the team averages over 4 points. They all contribute. They all play decent minutes. Everybody gets active. Coach CC Lytle is definitely doing a great job with this team. I think in order for Gulf Coast to win, they're going to have to do something that they've never done this season, and that's truly lock in on defense. They have to protect the paint and try and force them to shoot as many threes as possible. Kai Killings is somebody who everybody assumed was going to be the number one player. He was a monster last season. For some reason, this season, he hasn't really gotten the shots. His percentages have taken a downtick. It seems like the offensive identity is kind of went here and there, and they're not sure if they want to go to Kai or if they want to go to Avery or if they want to go to Razard Trashawn or Craig T or if they want Carson Cutbirth running the show or this or that. It seems like the pieces are all over the place, and the thing about being a cook is too many chefs spoil the broth, so they have to find their identity. Right now, I do think Kai Killings being their leading scorer and not Avery Cooks gives them the best chance to win, but that's my personal opinion. Next game we got on tap is the Originators versus Lakeshore Drive. Do I think this will be an upset? Absolutely not. Unfortunately, a team that's 4-7, to me, this is a belt to ass game. I know that's not fair to say. I know it's not even politically correct to say, but I don't see it. Lakeshore Drive does have talent. I do think they have weapons. I think Jermaine Duckworth is good. I think Millie G is good. I think Nash Shiftworthy is good. I think Witness Work is good. I think Tyreek Watt is good. But in the games that they've lost, it seems like they have a good time of getting one person really active in one game and then switching hands to the next game. There's not a consistent rhythm. Like, if you look at the team, they all shoot well from the field. They have 4 players averaging more than 10 points, all on above 45% from the field. And this team only has 4 wins. So what does that tell you? They're not only capable of scoring, but they're not capable of stopping anybody. And the Originators have somebody that once he gets hot, he's going to flame you to death. And no, I'm not saying that because he signed to the University of Syracuse. Go Orange. But when you're looking at the Originators, they do have the ability to stop. They do have the ability to up the tempo. They even have the ability to shoot from deep. They have a couple players that can play make. They have all the components to make a deep run, and it's why they're 8-6. So no, I don't think this game is a potential upset. It's one of those games where I don't necessarily even see it going the other way. And Lakeshore Drive to me would have to play like the perfect game and just muck it up completely, where they're getting a lot of foul calls, they're getting a lot of points in transition. They're not really running offensive sets. They're just finding the hot hand and just scoring early and often and forcing the Originators off their game. And I think that'll probably be too difficult to pull off. The next game at 9 p.m. is the Scorchers versus Rocky Mountain. I think this game comes down to coaching. I think because they're both teams at 500, I think it comes down to coaching and which coach in this chess match can get the upper hand the earliest. I don't want to say it's that simple, but that's really what it boils down to. They have similar guards that are both elite scorers. Rocky Mountain has Dink Pate. The Scorchers have Daniel Irvin. They both have an interior wing who's a primary scorer on the interior. The Scorchers have DJ Amer, or Amer. I don't know how to pronounce your last name. Sorry, dude. And Rocky Mountain Monsters have Xavier Mann. They both have bigs that are willing to crash boards and just go get it and be nasty defensively. Rocky Mountain has Devontae Schindler. The Scorchers have Jason Holbrook. They're teams that I'm not saying they're similar, but they're like comprised similar. Like the bones of the players are similar, not necessarily the same. I think ultimately, if the Scorchers get a big lead, they ultimately come away with it. I do think that if somehow players start off cold and maybe a player gets stuck on the sideline, that Rocky Mountain Monsters might come away with it. The next one, we have G5 versus the Indy Stripes. Again, this is one of those games I don't necessarily want to say that it's going to go one way or the other, or I'm confident it's going to happen this way. But if you ask me, I don't really see how Gotham 5 loses this game. And these Stripes, they have pieces, but it's hard going from coach to coach to coach to coach to coach. And then players that played one way now have to play this way, then now have to play this way, then now have to play this way, then now have to play this way. They've gone through so much that it's hard to think that this team could be anything other than ragtag with the amount of coaching changes that they've had. And Coach Deontay Porter has got them looking like a team in New York for real. This is what New York basketball is supposed to look like. I doubt they lose to a team that's 2-8 with their previous coach and their current coach. We don't even know what to make of him yet. So I'm not saying they have no chance. I'm just saying when one guy has something established and he knows what he's doing versus somebody who's coming in brand new tournament time, I can never favor in the brand new thing when the established guy already exists. Next game, we have Southeast Select versus the AT Aliens. I'm going to say Southeast Select on this one purely because, Brad Lee's a guy, I don't think he's ever missed the playoffs, and I think he's had a deep run or a semi-deep run every single season, so I'm not going to be the first person to count him out. I think he makes it past this round. Nothing against the AT Aliens. I don't think you guys really have the answer for KJ Hills and Brett Backer. And if you have the answer for them, then there's also Dexter Jackson. And then there's Drake Johnson. It's just a really deep team. Now, is Brett Lee going to make it a deeper run? I would hope so. Maybe with enough wins, he convinces people to let him go coach college. But ultimately, not up to me. And then we have Bay Area versus Latin America. I'm not sure if this game's happened, but I don't see it. Latin America has pieces. They even have a big that can contain Jake Lee, but again, newer coaches tend to struggle against veteran coaches regardless of who's on their roster. Because in a chess match, new coaches tend to be more prone to get flustered. And once you get flustered, you start calling stuff that you shouldn't and trying to feed one player or feed another player. And that's usually how blowouts happen. So I'm going to say Bay Area takes this one. But as far as roster talent goes, I do believe the teams are evenly matched. And I do believe if a more veteran coach, somebody with more experience, was coaching Latin America, that they could potentially pull off an upset. But their current coaching situation, I just don't see it. And last but not least, we have Africa versus Lone Star. And this is where I picked the upset. I think Africa can beat Lone Star. I think Lone Star has a lot of great weapons. I even think they have a good coach. But sometimes in these games, the team that can just absolutely muck it up and just make the absolute mess out of the game always is the team that wins. Africa is uber athletic. They have all the ability for this type of tournament where it's win or go home to bring it home. I do think they have somebody that can stop Trey DeRozan. I do think they have the athletes to stop Matthew Mozgov from getting to the paint. I do think they have the ability to slow down Tyler Allen's three-point shooting. And while their offense hasn't been stellar, I do think with all those stops, Hassan Al-Nawar, Dara Storm, Jordan Kyle-Asu, and Edward Balma can run the break well enough to where I think that's where they win the game at. I don't think they win it in the traditional way. I think they would have to completely muck it up. Now, y'all let me know down below. Am I absolutely off base? Am I completely wrong? Do you think I'm just wilding for my respect? Or do you see what I'm talking about?
Ain't no way around it, cause I'm tryna ball out. Come on if you bout it, but you better keep up. I'm not slowing down.